All right,
Sorry about
we
that,
are all
sports
set,
fan.
ready to go.
So, I wanted to start this morning with a poem by Dana Faulds. Dana has been teaching for years, teaching yoga at Kripalu, and writes some wonderful poetry about the internals of yoga. So much emphasis is placed on external, and I always wonder what's going on in their heads uh, while they're in a posture. And it, what I love about her is she teaches exactly the same thing I teach about meditation, in the sense that it's all about softening. That when you're in a pose, you begin to notice where you're resisting the pose. And she's going to talk about the process that she goes through. Most of us think that once you hit your edge in a pose, that's your limit and that it's something physiological. But if you're paying attention, you're going to begin to understand that when you hit your limit, you're hitting a trauma in your body that wants your attention at that moment. So this is how she addresses this. Life itself expands me when I let it. Listen to that phrase. Life itself expands me. I point to my known edge and I say, that's it. I can't go past there. That's my limit. But of course, life comes calling, as it always does, not respecting borders, asking me to stretch again, and then still more until I can't even recognize who I am. You know how it is: challenge, tragedy, grief, or ecstasy. Where I am right now just can't stay static. The pull towards God and evolution is too strong. Listen to that. The pull towards God and evolution. That magnetic pull that keeps drawing me out of myself into action. That's love. That's heart chakra. We don't think of it as the chakra that's drawing us out. It draws in, it draws out. That's its energetic function. When I let go, when I allow life in, I grow before I even notice what's happening. I grow before I even notice what's happening. So, here we are. We said the energy comes in, and if it just stayed flowing through us, we would be fine, but it doesn't, because our nervous systems begin a pattern of preferring one sensation over another sensation. Those things develop what we're going to talk about next week as Shenpa, these very powerful cravings which override the heart chakra. Now all of a sudden my body is tugging towards something it craves. Like right now I'm trying to lose weight and I walk past certain things like peanuts and I can feel that tug on my awareness, wanting to get my hand in the jar before I even know what's happening. Okay. That's very different from the still small voice that we're pointing towards that emerges in meditation that's drawing me towards what's healthy. So there's a draw towards stuff and there's an aversion towards other things. Well, we've been exploring how that now becomes language. Our brains are not so much used to rationalize. It would be nice if it was linked to the heart chakra, but it's not. And all of a sudden, it becomes a slave of our craving. And we really see this in addiction counseling, that people's thought processes begin to justify their addictions. Okay, so now my thoughts are the slave of this craving. So, what we're going to begin to explore today is to begin to see the kinds of storylines that we use to reinforce and justify staying shut down. Every one of us here knows that you're free to do whatever your soul wants to do. Then why aren't you doing it? So let's take a look at some of this wisdom literature. Okay. So we get caught up in oughts and shoulds. I was wrong. Next week we're going to explore uh, opposites. And I think it's Hafiz says that right and wrong are training wheels for when we're young that are to be set aside as we get old. Okay. And we're always recommended this. People misunderstood Nietzsche when he wrote his book Beyond Good and Evil, that the Übermensch, the person who has transcended society, is beyond good and evil. He's not giving you permission to be evil. He's saying we need to let go of those categories. So today we're going to explore all the oughts and shoulds that you've used not to expand, but to compress yourself. And those feelings of oughts and shoulds are what are exhausting you. That's what's creating all the tension. Because when you're living in a world of oughts and shoulds, you're tethered, you're fear-based. You can't release into the ventral state, which isn't about oughts and shoulds. Does that make sense? Okay. So our traumas don't just go away, they get embedded. It says, what happens to denied and rejected experiences in your body? Simply put, all that somatic awareness and experience is walled off from our everyday consciousness. It abides in a no man land in our tissues, our muscles, our ligaments and tendons, our blood and our bones. The literal organic journey of our somatic experience that our somatic experience is making towards becoming aware is aborted by our bodies. That energy gets jammed back into itself. And there it stays in a kind of unhealthy stagnation, where in some instances it may be unblocked by a body worker years or even decades later as a release of trauma. But as with our traumas, so with virtually every moment of our lives. The full range of our experience is not admitted, but is pushed back, is walled off, where it abides hidden in the body. This rejection of the fullness of our experience is what Buddhism means by the creation of karma. We don't understand karma. We use it in Christian terms as ye sow, so shall ye reap. That's not what it means. That's Christianity. Instant karma. No such thing as instant karma. Okay? Not the way we understand it, but the sense that every experience leaves an indelible imprint on your body is how we create it. So what we don't let through is your karma, is where you're carrying what you don't want to bring into awareness. It is the way your ignorance is being expressed. Okay. Previously created karma results in limitations of our present awareness. In other words, the experience that is pushed back and walled off into the body is not in the least inactive. It continues to function as that which our conscious standpoint, in order to maintain itself, must continually strive to ignore. Hear that? We're actively striving to ignore what we know is real, what wants to be expressed. As she puts it, God pulling you. That's the old traditional theistic way of understanding. I'm pulled to live freely. I want to be joyful. I want to be playful. I want to be loving. I want to be peaceful, but I can't. Not right now. And then the rationalizations start. Then your brain starts telling you all the reasons why I can't do that right now. Okay? What's going to happen if? We don't have an external Pharaoh anymore. We're about to get one maybe, but we don't have somebody telling us what to do. But what we do have is that internal voice that goes, what will people think if? Here in the South, it's really strong. You can't do anything without running through that filter. Can I get an amen on that? Okay. And so this is our bondage. Okay. All of your moves, while seemingly free and consistent with the wants and desires of your party objectives, are actually largely defined by trying to prevent any encounter with this unwanted guest. So, to make things even juicier, I just was looking at some more. This is part of what this vagus nerve stuff is about. So this is from a woman, Sarah Baldwin on Instagram. They've now said your nervous system determines your thoughts. I want you to hear that. You think you're thinking your thoughts. We know you're not thinking your thoughts. We know your karma is thinking your thought. The Buddhists have known there's a wonderful book out called Thoughts Without a Thinker, that when you sit, you will watch your brain generate thoughts. That's why we meditate. And Jack Kornfield says getting mad at your brain for generating thoughts while you meditate is as foolish as getting mad at your kidney for producing urine. That's what it's supposed to do. Now sit back and watch your karma unfold, because that's not you. This is the case of mistaken identity. We're watching our past trauma unfold in front of us as we meditate and think that's me. That's not you. Okay, we're going to get to you're the one watching it, but don't ever mistake what your brain is telling you for you. So here's some examples that she gives. She says, when you're in sympathetic, which is the fight or flight part, these are the type of thoughts you think. It needs to get done now or it's not going to happen. I can't take a break or slow down because there's too much to do. Oh no, they're mad at me. There's just not enough time to meditate. Ooh, everybody's in a bad mood and now I'm getting irritated and annoyed too. I can only focus on this one thing and that's stressing me out. Okay? You hear how your self-talk is about, I'm under attack, I'm pressured, there's an external threat, I'm being forced. That's all a dysregulated part of your nervous system. Now, if we shift into what we've been calling dorsal, what does your nervous system think? Again, I'm not saying you're intending to think these thoughts. This is where all the oughts and shoulds and training in your behavior, all that self-criticism, the inner judge, is being generated by your nervous system. Now listen to the nuance in the way the tone is. It's never going to happen for me. Everything feels impossible. Why even try? I just don't want to see anybody. I just want to crawl under the covers and hide. I think I've missed my time. Their experience is too much for me. I need to pull away. I just take all their expectations. I feel numb and like I'm not really here. Okay? You hear the rationalization to shut down. Now I'm going to totally withdraw. I'm not going to try. And your brain, again, the thoughts are validating what your body's feeling. It's your body talking to you. And now we've identified another state, and we're talking about freeze as a separate state where both fight and flight and shutdown are happening. So this is a really difficult place. I'm falling behind and need to go faster, but I'm totally stuck. So listen to how now I've got one foot on the gas and another foot on the brake. It's not that I'm shut down and don't want to engage. I want to engage, but now I can't. I want to take steps in my purpose, but it feels impossible. I'm thinking about a text all day long, but I find it difficult to respond. I really need to do more about how I use my time, but I can't. I get confused about my truth and I struggle to communicate it. I feel trapped in my body. I can't get my body to move. Okay. Now, then where are we wanting to be? Ventral. Ventral, it feels like I'm doing exactly what I love doing. Even when things are hard, I know it's going to work out somehow. I feel connected to myself and the people around me. There's always enough time, but I just let it unfold, quit fighting. I can have my experience, other people can have theirs. We don't have to argue about who's right and who's wrong. We can both be right. I'm aware of and noticing my body. I feel aware and grounded. Okay. Do you hear people? Or are you beginning to get a sense this is not you? These things can shift up and down this ladder. When you're healthy, that's what you do. When you get stuck in one, you've got a problem. So, what we're actually doing in meditation is begin to notice the stuckness and let it go. Take the energy that's in this ought, this should, this constriction, and set yourself free. So, begin your meditations when you're ready. In every meditation, always begin by grounding in the body, grounding in the breath. Grounding in the senses, the sensation of the breath as we become aware of all the information the body's giving us at the nostrils, the sinuses, in the back of the throat. All the sensations of the breath moving the shoulders, the abdomen. Tuning into the information given from your internal sensors about your balance, noticing that perhaps your head is tilted back or your shoulders are slumped, your back is bowed. Feeling your body self-correct. As you become aware of all the embedded energy in your body. That's talking to you in agitation, in clenching, in restlessness, pain. And without criticism, without any effort to change what you're experiencing, just sit back. And keeping your awareness, your grounding, that you're always deeply rooted in the earth, rooted in the breath. When we talk about love, gravity is one of our best understandings. The earth draws us towards her very powerfully all the time, saying, "Come here, my love. Come and rest. Let me put my arms around you and heal you and comfort you and feel her support." or nurture. Or calming energies. But where do I belong? Where's my place? Right here, she says, right here. Who will love me? I will. And now become aware from this calm place of all the voices, feeling the background of safety, creating space now to become aware of the constant brain chatter. That inner judge, constantly pulling you off where you would like to go. Creating confusion, clumsiness. Making life difficult with their tugs about how you ought to be, what should have happened, what shouldn't happen. And feel the energy in these voices. Notice how you may be projecting them as the way other people are feeling about you. I have to change what I'm doing or other people will be upset. Just noticing the impact that these thoughts have on your energy, how they want to compel you. That's the Shenpa. Notice how your desire to be peaceful and open disappears when these voices start. Notice how they're never satisfied. It's not that other people are telling you you're not good enough, it's the voices in your head constantly reminding you. And notice how this tug, this pull of these voices is so much stronger, so much louder than the gentle pull of your desire for peace, for presence. And let yourself know that these voices are all from somewhere else. You weren't born with these thoughts. This is a collection of parental voices, voices of authorities in your life, voices of people who abused you in the past by not honoring yourself and telling you how you should be, controlling you and telling you it's for your own good. And without judgment, see the ways that you participate now in your own self-abuse. All simply ideas of how things should be, how you should be, how other people should be. Pulling you out of the present, putting you in the future and the past where you're powerless, contributing even further to your spiritual discouragement. Just being aware that however you were overpowered before, felt like you had to disappear, give up, dissociate, change, comply, recede into the background, that you had good reason at the time. There's no blame here, no guilt, just something to be aware of. And in this moment, claim your right to fully express the energy in your body. Begin to feel the two opposing forces, the part that wants to get through and the part that's holding it back, and begin to soften the constrictions. Breathing in as fully as possible. And as you exhale, release all that trapped energy. No need to understand it, judge it, just let it go. You may envision each of these tugs as an energetic cording, which it is, keeping you corded and connected to past trauma. And the only person who can set you free is you, to begin to pull those cords. Say, I'm done. You don't have to confront your abuser or write letters. Just disconnect. And just feel that relief. Sometimes there may be anxiety. That's normal. There may be grief, letting go of an old unpleasant friend. And if there is, just from this place of awareness and compassion, acknowledge the hurt and continue to expand. However you relinquished your wholeness in the past. Welcome it now. Inhale, and when you exhale, release. Expanding into all the space that is yours. You have a connection with the whole universe. Set your body free to explore that expansive, energetic ocean around you. Allowing your awareness to expand fully. Without words, relaxing into the sky of non-judgmental awareness, letting all the oughts and shoulds just float by like clouds without allowing them to compel you. When the compulsion emerges, just unhook it. And expand. Letting your heart release all its constrictions, relax into the spaciousness of compassion. Free at last to love without fear of consequences. Knowing that this place is real and you can always come back no matter what happens in the world. We have this safe place around us and within us. However, you've been diminished, how much of yourself denied, breathe and draw those orphan children under the stairs, welcome them here. All that playful energy, that outrageousness, that inappropriateness. Set it free. Inhaling and reclaiming yourself. And exhaling and expanding into the space that's your birthright. Reclaiming the fullness of your being, the fullness of your energy. Beginning to feel that energy not as something that needs to be controlled, but as the light that you were born to bring. Breathing in the energy and the light of the world. And feeling your light begin to radiate out from your body as an aura. The Jews called this your Shekinah, your glory. Let your light so shine among men. Put it on a hill. Don't hide it. Breath by breath, reclaiming your experience, reclaiming your voice, setting yourself free to express yourself fully and engage life. Being encouraged by the teachings, by the Sangha, Have the courage to be fully you. Only by being fully you will you experience all there is in the world and express the gift that you were brought to give. And in the wholeness of your life, fully receive the blessings of life. Hey, baby girl. Hey, you are beautiful, sugar. So glad you joined us. I have just a quick story. There was a guy in Chicago named Bill Rousseau who used to do a lot of community theater. So he did a series of the best parts of different things that he had produced. And it was audience participation night, and it was designed to teach people how to participate and respond to dance and drama without the judge being activated. So I brought my 2-year-old son in, and he's sitting there going, ah, ah, ah. And Bill Rousseau himself comes over and says, "You all need to leave. You're a distraction." People around us saw us being asked to leave and said, "What did he just say to you?" And when we told them what he said to us, they all got up and left the theater. And it was such an ironic thing that here he is quelching in my son, doing exactly what he's trying to liberate the adults from, and didn't see the irony of what he was doing. It turned out that they were taping it, filming it, and he wanted a good tape. And so what he was trying to accomplish interfered with the whole process of what he was doing. So that's kind of how crazy this shit gets sometimes. So what y'all got?
That was a wonderful meditation. It had to have applied as it did to me, to everybody in your room, everybody in your following. It was really good. I'm glad it was recorded and I'll listen to it now.
Sweet. Well, thank you,
Good
Cheryl.
night. You're welcome. Thank you.
I love the sort of pithy notion that in the past and in the future, you're powerless.
Right.
You're ruled by your emotions and they'll come to get you, but powerless.
Yeah, you have to comply with the parental demands. It's one of the first things I give people when they come in is to say, um, you had to abandon your reality and take on the way your abusers perceived you. If you were curious, you weren't called curious, and gee, That's really, I love the way you're constantly looking for questions, answers to questions, and the way you're constantly running around looking at things instead of sit in your goddamn seat or I'm going to beat the shit out of you. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know, and you have to begin to hold yourself in control to avoid punishment, to avoid rejection or criticism. We What happens is we live in denial of that. Two things, Tommy. One, when you're in a state where someone more powerful is judging you, you go into a hypnotic trance. You become highly suggestible. Okay. In hypnotherapy, Milton Erickson and people like Joe, what's his name? Saul Wolinski. No, that's Saul Alinsky. Somebody Wolinski. Talk about the trances. We're living in trances of childhood. A trance is a body state that comes with a full-blown view of the world that emerges. So they were really talking about polyvagal theory. So we have no choice, but then we forget that we've been trained. It becomes truth. So we no longer have a capacity to step outside of it and realize I didn't start like this. Every thought I have was planted there by somebody else. And I said that in a lecture I was doing in a treatment center. And this guy goes, I know that's not true. And I said, oh, really? He says, yeah. I said, so what do you criticize yourself for? Well, I just know that I don't use my time in a wise fashion and that I'm disorganized. And I go, well, somebody didn't tell you that, but I'll tell you where that came from. Came from the bottom of your report card. You remember they have your grade and then they have your conduct section. And I'd always get straight A's, but boy, the conduct section was straight F's. And so all these things become our self-image. That's not who you are. Take all those self-criticism and flip them. Realize what was underneath that voice that they were trying to shut down. That's you. That expansiveness, that voice, the one that says, you can't talk to me like that. You change your attitude or I'm going to smack it out of you, kid. Okay. Well, that's where your truth is. Does that make any sense to people? Where all
Yeah.
your energy is that's why you can't, your throat gets, say what it really feels. I can't. Throat going to get killed if you say this. Something bad's going to happen. What is it? What is it bad that's going to happen? It already happened and you lived through it. So the paradox is we feel so vulnerable and we're so fucking tough. These vulnerable little bright spirits, but you're still here. Set them free. Making any sense?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we all need to put our foot up in the screen so that she can see our foot.
Who's
I love that. The
little girl?
Julie's.
Yeah.
There.
Ah.
Green. Yay. Look, look. Oh, she's a cutie. Yeah.
And so, in case you newcomers are curious, that's why at the end of this we go, let go of all the serious, let go of all the end, just fuck it. Break the chains, set your body loose.
It is pretty amazing because the thought that I would put my foot up on the camera, it's like, oh no, I can't show what, it's like, I'm going to restrict myself. It's exactly what you're saying. The
Right.
thought that can I put my foot up there? Well, I guess I can, but
I
but
know.
would I? No, no. It's just like,
Yeah.
what we tell ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, in my clients, when I do energy work, I say, "Could you please take off your socks?" And it's only women. No, I can't take off my sock. I can't let you see my feet like this.
Yeah.
I can't let you see my feet like that. Okay. I have no idea what that means, but obviously it's important.
You would understand if you really saw our feet.
No, I've seen them afterwards, and I don't see what the
Oh,
problem is because I
oh,
don't
man.
judge. No problem, just a foot.
Yeah, my ladies at the church where I teach yoga practice yoga with their socks on. I said, you really need to take your socks off. Your bare feet, get grounded. Put
Yeah.
those feet on your mat.
Right, get
That's
that
stable.
energy.
That sticky mat. That grounding. Nope. Nope. Can't do
But
it.
you know, if you'll stop, you will feel the trauma in your feet at that moment. You will feel the shame in your feet. I'm not making this stuff up. The emotions are in that part of your body.
Huh.
I think that so much of what we do or don't do is a result of self-judging. And I'm thinking, well, if I'm judging myself, if I look at my feet and go, they're really ugly, I need to get a pedicure, or my nails or whatever. I'm thinking, well, if I'm judging myself, other people are going to be judging me too. If I look at my feet and I think that they're ugly, other people are going to do the same thing. And then what are they going to think of me? What does that say about me that my feet are ugly? And who's to say what's ugly? Anyway, So I certainly would say that for me anyway, I'm not speaking for anyone else. A lot of what I do reflexively, I don't think I even realize it, is a consequence of my self-judging. And I look at somebody else and I think, oh man, I can't believe he said that. Well, I'm judging him. Channy, believe it, he just said it. um
Channy, I'm too busy judging my feet to judge yours.
Exactly right. So the first thing I do,
I'm a Pisces and my feet are beautiful.
It's all about the feet.
well, of course they
Pisces and
are.
my feet are beautiful. Ha 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 ha. That's right. My fins are drop dead gorgeous and you'll never see them.
Yeah.
Unless the price. Make a deal. I'm a Pisces. Don't
Yeah.
talking to my class. Mess with my feet. I mean, I'll find each and every one of you. All right, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay. So are you beginning to get a feel for all this that goes on unconsciously that's in your body, that all these things that you're trying to repress, all the things that come up that make your life awkward, is your body asking to be set free from the past?
Yes.
Okay. And that you don't have to do what psychoanalysis has taught us. You don't have to figure out where it came from. You don't have to take action to relate to the people who did this to you. All you have to do is to recognize it as energy, because the minute you engage it and try to get rid of it, you strengthen it. What you resist persists. Now, all I've done is create trauma in the opposite direction, which is why we spend years in therapy and don't get better. Because we're looking and perpetuating the very trauma. by giving it attention. Instead, focus on the space around you. Focus on all that energy that wants to be lived through you. That's your true identity.
Be careful.
Can you feel the spaciousness of that? Of freedom? That's what your heart's longing for, is to get outside the cage. But as Erich Fromm said, we want to escape from freedom. Okay? Because freedom brings uncertainty. Freedom brings that sense, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know how I should be. So go back to Achin Chan. Who are you?
Don't know.
What's going to happen today?
Don't know.
Whoa, great. You ready? Go. You wise. You ready? Yeah.
Bart, I want to thank you for this last month or so of moving it around a little. It's made a real difference with me, and I can see what gets in my way better, so that it's not a problem. The problem is that I sub at a Baptist school, so I have to work in that when I get home. They have a lot of shoulds.
A lot of shit.
A lot of
And
cleansing.
It's an interesting awareness to see how much that word comes up in your life and trying to do away with it. I just try to not use it, but I feel it coming at, and then no, not should, maybe could, maybe whatever. But see if you can get rid of it.
But watch the way what people who work with news, they become very sophisticated at saying should in a different way.
Yeah.
So
should,
the ego still got
Yeah.
it would be much better for everyone
Yes.
if we did this. Yeah, still should.
Yeah. Still should.
Bart,
No.
did you allude to the fact that kind of being impacted or being controlled by the oughts and shoulds? Did you allude to the fact that like dissipates as we get older? I mean, did I imagine you saying that, or did you allude to that?
Wait, it dissipates as you get older? No one gave me that one.
Well, I mean, I'm wondering if you
Messing with
alluded
you.
to that, or did I just go there in my own head because that's where I wanted to go?
Am I saying that the oughts and shoulds begin to dissipate?
Or not necessarily that the oughts and the shoulds tend to dissipate, but our listening to them tends to lessen as we mature.
If we are wise, it will dissipate. Okay? That's why, as I call myself a yelder, a young elder, because I'm not getting older, I'm aging, like wines age and cheese age. They get better. Okay? So in aging, yes, it's your second childhood. This is our period of unlearning. So in India, they see after your householder days are done, and I no longer have children to raise, I no longer have a wife or a husband I'm accountable to, I begin to be free of those obligations. Now I can be my authentic self. So often the people who let go of the shoulds, again, do begin to feel more childlike, because it's like the one that if I had my life to live over again, I'd wear more purple. You remember that poem? It was the first woman.
Yes.
Okay.
The book is When I Am an Old Woman, I Shall Wear Purple. And I highly recommend this, Tiffany, because it's exactly what you are saying, and what Bart is saying, that certainly for me, I have reached a point where I just think, oh, what the hell? You don't like what I just did, get over it. It's your problem, not my problem.
Yeah. Going out without a bra.
And that's
There's the girls. Yeah. I'm done hiding them.
I've never seen you wear a
Well, I asked the question because that is something that, kind of that letting go of giving a shit,
There you go.
what people think, or, not giving a shit if people are judging you when you go to the store without your bra.
Mhm.
That is very freeing. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know if it's the same thing as what you're trying to show us today.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's all made up stuff.
it's the
That's from Sheldon
conditioning.
Kopp.
It's the conditioning.
It's the conditioning that all the things that we think are truth are only truth with a little t within a certain social context. So, for example, if you're Polynesian, you'd run around, or living in Africa, you'd run around with no top. No one would say anything. Here, oh, you don't do that. It's all made up. Our attitudes towards sexuality, our attitudes towards parental and child-parent relationships, what children are. So now one caveat, guess what happens to you when you start living like this?
Your daughter judges you.
Yes.
You might get fired.
One of the reasons we wait till we're at retired age.
Well, sometimes we wait.
Job.
Sometimes it just comes out in the meeting,
And if someone says to you, Tiffany, that you are not wearing a bra, and maybe you should, you can then say, how come you're looking that hard?
Exactly.
Who are you to notice?
Exactly. Why are you even looking there?
Really?
Get your eyes back in your socket.
It is so true.
Oh my God.
The next thing that happens, and I'll and then we'll close on this thought. When you are successful at this, the external criticism will increase.
Yes.
All right. I'm doing it right.
Doing it right.
Yes.
And that needs to be your validation. So I work with the group worked down in a place called the Bottoms in Chicago. It was probably the worst slum that we had. We did pictures of it and compared it to housing in South Africa, and you couldn't tell what was Shreveport and what was South Africa. So we were rehabbing these old shotgun houses and moving people into them. The problem was that it's the first time they had air conditioning or heating. So in the winter, they'd have it up to 85, and in the summer have the air conditioner down to 68, getting energy bills that they couldn't pay. So we realized we were going to have to do some training, that you don't just immediately move from rental status and empowerment into having some things without some training. So we started a whole bunch of stuff on nutrition, on budgeting, on parenting, on civic responsibility, blah, 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 blah. Well, all of a sudden, this neighborhood started going down to the city council and asking for better police protection to get the junkies off the street corner because the kids were playing with needles, and to get the hookers off the street corner because they were flaunting stuff the kids didn't need to see. Well, all of a sudden, the city council had to deal with empowered people in this neighborhood, and we came under attack in the editorials every day. So the woman, I'll give the reference to those of you who know Shreveport, was Jeannie Hamill. Her family was very prominent. A part of our parkway is named after her dad. And she burst into tears. Why do they hate us? Why are they being so mean to us? And I said, Jeannie, this is our validation. I said, up until now, all our work has been is window dressing. So the city could say, look, we're doing something about the race problem in our city. We got this project down. I said, now when they're really empowered and they're getting flack, it means we've shifted the balance of power and we're having an impact. So there's this guy named Jesus who said, "Blessed are those of you who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for so they persecuted the prophets before you."
Wow.
Okay. We're all worried about what is actually the validation you get, the seal. You are now liberated because you are reviled and persecuted by evil people.
I don't care. I don't want you to get broken.
Okay.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yes.
little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Come on. This little light.
of mine,
I'm gonna let
gonna
it
let it
shine.
shine.
Light
This
of mine.
little light
I'm
I'm
going
gonna
to
let it
shine.
shine.
Let it shine, let it
Let it
shine,
shine.
let it
Shine.
And I'm gonna
shine.
push on.
That's
No,
what
I'm
Satan
gonna
did.
let it
Let it
shine.
shine.
I did a little push
Little
on.
so
No,
low.
Oh,
I'm
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 gonna
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 let
let
it
let
it
it
shine.
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 Well, I did a push on.
Push on
No,
no.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
let
let
it
it
shine.
shine.
shine,
Let it
let it
shine.
shine,
Let it
Shine,
let it
let it
shine,
shine.
let it
shine. Well, I got the
shine.
light of love.
Love.
I'm gonna
I'm
let
gonna
it
let it
shine.
shine.
Well, I
I
got the
got
light
the
of
Light of
love.
love.
Well,
I'm
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 gonna
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 let
let
it
it
let
let it
it
shine.
shine.
Well,
What?
I
I
got
I
got the
got the
light of
light of
of
love.
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 well, I'm
I'm
gonna
I'm
gonna
gonna
let
let
it
let
it
it
shine.
shine,
shine.
let it
Let it
Let
shine,
shine.
it
let
Let
it
it
shine.
shine,
shine. Let
let
it
it
Let it
shine.
shine.
Woohoo!
Well,
Woo! Damn.
That was
Mm.
awesome.
That was great.
Right.
That's your own.
That was
Yeah.
our own.
Yes.
I'll take it.
yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Bart.
now you've seen a paradox, Channy, an evangelical Unitarian. I got written up for that. So,
Oh, man. Have a good weekend, you guys.
thank you.
Thank
Love
Thank
you
you.
all.
You
Tip,
too.
tip,
Love
tip.
you guys. See you later.
Bye.
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 Bye. Thank you, Bart.
Bye.